everyone, welcome back. Or if you're new here, I'm Heather and this is Storybook Crochet. And I'm so glad that you stopped by. Today we are making something super cute and fun, a crochet mermaid tail ice pop holder. This is a quick little project that's perfect for keeping little hands from freezing while they're enjoying their favorite ice pops this summer. This project is very easy and fun to make, and you can finish it in no time, and there is no complicated stitches involved. So we're going to grab all of our supplies, find a comfy spot, and let's crochet together. For your materials today, you will need a worsted weight 4 yarn. I am using green for today's project. I am also using a 3.5 millimeter or USE hook. And then you'll just need some scissors and a yarn needle to weave in those ends. Alright, so we're going to start with the main part of our tail here, and then we'll make the 2 fins and sew those on at the end. So to start this off, we're going to start by making a magic ring. So I take the end of my yarn here and I just lay it over 3 fingers and then just wrap it around, crossing over the top. And then you're just going to take your hook, go underneath and grab that top piece there and just pull up a loop and then just hold that onto your hook and then you'll chain 1 and that will secure your ring for you. Once you have your ring made, you're going to put 4 single crochets inside your ring. So you'll take your hook and go into your ring, grab your loop and pull that up and then make your first single crochet. And then you'll repeat that 3 more times. Alright, so we have our 4 single crochets made. So you'll just take that tail and you're going to pull on that until that opening closes. Alright, and that completes round number 1 for us. So for round number 2, you're going to start by putting a single crochet in the first stitch that we made from our last round. So just find that first single crochet and make 1 single crochet. In our second stitch, we're going to make an increase. So you're going to put 2 single crochets in that same stitch. And then we're going to repeat that 1 more time. So 1 single crochet in the next stitch and then increase in the last stitch. And that will give you 6 total single crochets at the end of round 2. So at this point we need to kind of pop that up so that the right side is facing out and we start to get the tip of the tail there, or the shape that we're wanting. So at this point I find it helpful to use a stitch marker, and I put mine at the end of each round. If you don't have a stitch marker on hand, you can always use a small scrap of yarn, and I would just use a contrasting color to this so you can see which piece of yarn that is. And then you'll just stick it into your last or your first stitch, whichever your preference is. Alright, so starting round number 3, we're going to start by making an increase in this very first stitch. So 2 single crochets in the first stitch, and then we're going to single crochet 1 in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1 single crochet and 1 single crochet. And then we're just going to repeat that 1 more time. So increase in the next stitch and then 2 single crochets to finish off round number 3. Alright, so at this point I'm going to go ahead and cut this center tail shorter so it's out of my way. And then I will replace my stitch marker. Alright, so for round 4, we're going to start by making 1 single crochet, and then we'll increase in the next stitch. And you'll just repeat that around a total of 4 times. So 1 single crochet, and then increase. And this gives you a total of 12 stitches at the end of round number 4. Moving on to round 5, we're going to start with an increase in the first stitch and then 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. And again, you're going to repeat this a total of 4 times. So increase, and then 2 single crochets. Okay, so round 6 will be our last increase round. We're going to start by making 3 single crochets. After your 3 are made, you're going to make your increase. Then you'll just repeat that 3 more times. So 3 single crochets and then increase. Alright, so that finishes off the very tip portion of the tail here. So now we're just going to build up the sides. So for rounds 7 through 20, you're just going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So again, that's rounds 7 through 20. For each round, you will have a total of 20 single crochets made. So go ahead and finish off through round 20, and then we'll meet back. I'll show you how to finish that off, and then we will make our 2 tail fins. Alright, so now that our last stitch is made, we're going to go ahead and finish this off, and I will show you how to do a seamless join here. So you're just going to take your yarn and just cut a little bit shorter of a tail. We're not going to be sewing anything with that. And then you're just going to take your loop and you're going to pull that tail out through that loop at the top there. Then you can grab your yarn needle here and get that attached. Okay, once you have that, we're going to find our second stitch from the beginning of the last row here. So you're just going to go into that second stitch under both loops, pull your yarn through. Then you're going to go back into the last stitch that you made, but instead of going under both loops, we're just going to go between them and go under that back loop. And then you'll pull on that, and then just kind of gently tug on that until you get that stitch there. See, it makes it look like another stitch completed there, until it's about the same size as your other stitches. At that point, I just go through the inside and then come out the front here to kind of secure that. And then you're just going to weave that in a few times through your piece here. So I'll just go through kind of the second row down here, pull that through, and then I'll go back through it again just to make sure that that's good and secure. All right, once you have that done, then you can just go ahead and trim that off. All right, and then the main part of our tail is finished, so we can move on and do the 2 fins. Okay, so we're going to make each fin separately, and then we'll just sew them on to the tail at the end. So we're again going to start with a magic ring. And then for round number 1, we're again going to be putting 4 single crochets into our ring. All right, once you have your 4, you'll pull on that tail to close that opening. For round 2, we're going to start by making 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and then increase in your second stitch. So the first 2 rounds are the exact same as the main part of our tail. So you'll just repeat that one more time. So single crochet and then increase. And you should have 6 total single crochets at the end of round number 2. All right, so again, we're going to pop that center out so the right side is facing out, and we start to get the shape that we're wanting for our tail fins here. All right, so for round 3, we're just going to single crochet around. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So again, you will have a total of 6 single crochets made. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and cut that center tail there to get that out of my way. I'm going to go ahead and start using my stitch marker at this point. So for round 2, we're going to start by making 2 single crochets. And then you're going to increase in the 3rd stitch. And then you'll just repeat that one more time. So 2 single crochets and increase. Moving on to round number 5, we're going to start by making 3 single crochets. And then you'll increase in the 4th and repeat that again one more time. And round number 6 will be our last increase round. We're going to make 4 single crochets. And then you'll increase in the 5th stitch. And then again, repeat that one more time. So 4 single crochets and increase. Okay, so for round number 7, we're just going to single crochet around. So this will give you, again, a total of 12 single crochets made for round number 7. All right, so we have 2 rounds left, and for round number 8, we're going to start our decreasing rounds. So we're going to start first by making 2 single crochets. After you have your 2 made, we're going to make a decrease. So I make my decreases in the front loop only. So you're going to take your hook and insert it in between the 2 loops there, just going underneath that front one. Grab your yarn and pull that through. And then you're going to repeat that in the next stitch. So go under that next front loop, grab your yarn and pull it through. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and then pull that through all 3 of those loops. So we turn those 2 stitches into 1. So now we're going to repeat that 2 more times. So make 2 single crochets, and then you'll make your next decrease. All right, and then we'll repeat it one more time. So 2 single crochets and decrease. All right, and you should have 9 total single crochets after round 8. So we have 1 round to go. We're going to start by making 1 single crochet in the first stitch and then decrease over the next 2 stitches. And then again, just repeat that 2 more times. So 1 single crochet and decrease. Alright, and then to finish that off, we're just going to slip stitch into that very next stitch there. So pull your yarn through and pull it through the loop on your hook. And then you'll cut a little bit longer of a tail, so as we're going to use that to sew that on. Okay, so just go ahead and re-watch that to make your second fin here, and then I will show you how to sew these onto our tail. So I find that easier to make sure your tail here is completely flat. Just fold it in half and flatten that out to get our placement for our fins here. So I just go ahead and I match it up to the very tip of the tail, so it's kind of on the side here. And then you're just going to go through one stitch on the tail and then the corresponding stitch on the fin. And you're just going to work your way all the way around in every single stitch on that last round of the fin. All right, once you come back to the end and you are finished stitching that on, we're just going to weave that in, and you can do that anywhere as long as you use the same color for your tail and your fin. Just kind of pull it up through the center there, and then I just come back and forth a few times just to make sure that that doesn't come undone. Okay, and then you'll just snip that off, and that's the first fin sewn on. So you're just going to repeat that process for the second fin, just making sure you're going directly on the other side and that they're evenly spaced out so they fit just right. And that's it. Your adorable mermaid tail ice pop holder is all finished. I hope you had as much fun making it as I did. If you gave this a try, I'd love to hear how it turned out. So drop me a comment below or tag me on social media. I always love seeing your creations. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for more simple, fun crochet projects. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy crocheting!